I could get in position to fire, somebody blew him out of the air.
America is on the offensive. The strategy: leapfrog Japanese island strongholds. Take back the Pacific sky.
War is like sports. When one is on a losing streak, one cannot win easily.
U.S. Marines are in control of Henderson Airfield on Guadalcanal. American planes have a vital land base in the South Pacific. Marine pilot Ken Walsh, Medal of Honor.
And we were able to commence the offensive missions from Guadalcanal, clear up to Bougainville. We had the range, a combat radius of 325 nautical miles. And this was our stepping stone to eventually the road which led us to Japan.
U.S. Army pilot John Mitchell.
It was an all-out situation. We weren't out there playing tiddlywinks. We were out there to kill people. And they were out there to kill us, and we were out there to take back things from them that they had taken from us.
U.S. intelligence cracks the Japanese naval and maritime code. They learn of an imminent attack to retake Guadalcanal. U.S. pilots are alerted to the route of the Japanese fleet. U.S. Navy pilot Scott McCuskey.
There was a presumption that we had broken their code as far as we were on the ship concerned, or as far as I was concerned as a junior officer. And later I learned we actually had broken their code, and we were reading their mail.
Before then, we could predict where the next battle would be. We fought according to our plans and had time to make strategy. However, it was as though the Americans knew all of our movements. I felt there was no way to stop the enemy.
Americans track what they call the Tokyo Express, masses of enemy ships protected by a canopy of deadly fighters. The inevitable clash of powerful enemies creates electric suspense that crackles over the waters.
Before dawn, our scouts flew in the shape of a big fan scattered widely, and all of our fighters were ready on the carrier and waiting. But if we were attacked while we were waiting, while we were still on the ship, it would be the same as the Battle of Midway, and we would all be destroyed. While we were waiting, the tension was immense.
The Japanese fleet is spotted. American fighters and torpedo bombers head in for the kill. Vulnerable Japanese troop transports are blasted. Thousands of soldiers die in the waters off Guadalcanal.
I think my wingman dropped a bomb right, I think, down the smokestack. Anyhow, that thing hit the midship. And of course, the ship was just loaded. I mean, there must have been 1,500 to 2,000 Japanese on board. There were reinforcements. And so when the bomb hit the ship, they jumped out in the water and all like that. Well, hell, we just turned around, and after we dropped that bomb, just turned around and came back and opened up with them on the machine guns. And they were in the water, and the water was red with blood. And the sharks were having a heyday.
Yoi Hinoki, Japanese Air Force.
I thought we were completely destroyed. Oh no, everything was destroyed. Now I have to destroy the enemy. The enemy was regrouping in formation and then coming back. And I thought, the American Air Force is surely tough. They really are something. Look at what they are doing. In the instant I saw the formation, I was shot in my right leg. I found that below the knee, about 10 centimeters below, was blown off. I tied my scarf around my knee and returned to the base.
As Japanese pilots grow desperate, American aces are hungry for combat.
And I pulled in behind him and cut loose with this cannon, and the third shot I got out, and that sucker must have been 1,000,000 pieces. And of course I was just elated, and I just said, man, this is a great game, you know, let's get some more of this thing.
The Japanese are beaten back. Bougainville is the next American target, even closer to Japan's key South Pacific strongholds.
We started our march across the Pacific from island to island, groups of islands, to the Marianas. We're getting them, we're being able to secure islands, we're landing on them, and I would say that was really the beginning of where we felt that we're on the move all the way through to Tokyo.
November 1943, U.S. Marines hit the beach at Bougainville. Their prime objective, the tiny island's airstrip. The field is taken. Japanese pilots, once masters of the Pacific sky, are now the hunted. From hard-won airfields, from scripts hacked out of the jungle, from huge carriers, American bombers and fighters smash Japanese bases at Truk and Rabaul. Takeo Tanamizu, Japanese Air Force.
When we were transferred from the mainland to Rabaul, all of us felt we would never come back alive. The fighter pilots and even the men on the battleships felt that way. We had to fly about 7 or 8 hours a day. It was really overload.
Isolated, cut off from supplies, the Rabaul garrison is plagued by hunger and disease. American raids seem never to end.
The American Air Force was attacking us. They came without stopping. Sometimes they came 3 times a night. They did not let us sleep at all. Because I did not have any men who could go up in the air during the nighttime, we had a very hard time.
Long on courage, the Japanese pilots question the attitude and wisdom of their elitist officers. Most Japanese fighter pilots are only sergeants and must obey their superiors without question. Saburo Sakai, a leading ace, feels the beginnings of dissent.
When we were going to die, we were told we were national treasures. But once we took off our pilot's uniforms, we were only non-commissioned officers, nothing more. This is a very, very bad thing in the Japanese Navy. According to a rumor, the American officers would listen to their men, even if they were only non-commissioned officers. The Japanese were quite different. Staff officers only issued orders. There's a Japanese proverb, good luck does not always repeat itself. You know, the Japanese always attacked the same spots, but the enemy came from unexpected directions. We did not adopt strategies based on information gathered from the field. Officers never discussed with their men the battles they had just fought or strategies for the next battles. That was ridiculous. In such a structure, the Japanese Navy would not be able to fight efficiently. Well, that was the Japanese Navy. Ridiculous.
If an isolated Rabaul was to die, it would die hard. Whatever their feelings, Japanese pilots desperately try to break the American stranglehold on their base.
I was reckless when defending my own base. Being trained as a carrier pilot, we were naturally more aggressive. We always attacked before being attacked. For if our carrier came under fire, that was it. That was the end. We had no time to think before engaging the enemy. I didn't care if there were 200 of them. I simply dove into the middle. I was only satisfied if I was able to break their formation.
George Chandler's P-38 Lightning is tracked by a Zero coming in for the kill.
Here came a Zero down. He'd seen this crippled P-38, and he was coming down to finish me off. He made a big wide swing out and turned to come back in, and he wasn't watching his tail. The Marine pilot just exploded him in a big ball of flame. Went by with a victory roll going back up into the fight. God, he looked good to me. He looked so good to me.
Like Rabaul, Truck Island was once considered impregnable. Now, bypassed by American leapfrogging strategy, the mighty fortress is demolished from the air.
Truck Island was a base for the Japanese Allied forces. While we were in Rabaul, we gossiped where the Americans would attack next. Rabaul was the front, so we thought the Americans would attack somewhere near there. However, our base in Truck Island was attacked unexpectedly.
U.S. Navy ace Alexander Vrashew flies his Hellcat fighter into a melee over Truck.
I took a look back over my shoulder, and good thing I did, because there were 4, 5, 6 Zeros already starting to come in our direction. I could even see the fire from their guns at the time.
Vrashew gets 3 kills, goes for his 4th.
I played a cat and mouse game with him. He was ducking in and out of a cloud. I'd try to make a run on him, and he ducked back into a cloud. So I thought, well, okay, I'll get up sun, which I did. Went up on the sun side of him, and he never knew what hit him.
Even if we escaped into the clouds, bullets still followed us. Surely they could not see us, but still the bullets were coming. We did not understand why we were being hit. Very good pilots lost their lives, one after another, from the middle of the war on. I regret their deaths. However, we were no match against the enemy anymore at that time.
With the Japanese fighter force beaten, American bombers are free to destroy Truck's menace. Like Rabaul, the base is left to crumble under the weight of starvation and disease.
We could concentrate maybe 1,500 aircraft at any place we chose. And it's impossible for the Japanese on their perimeter defenses to concentrate a defense to oppose this.
U.S. power gathers for the assault on Japan's remaining outposts in the Central Pacific. Tarawa, Tinian, Rota, Saipan, Guam. It will be a climactic clash of titans. The next American target, Saipan in the Marianas Chain. The island is within striking range of the Japanese homeland.
Saipan was attacked. The Americans landed on that island. At the time, we were stationed at Truck. When we heard the Americans landed in Saipan, we became very alarmed. Saipan was within range of a raid on Tokyo.
The Japanese mount a furious defense. On the ground, Marines take awful punishment. U.S. bombers and fighters slash at Saipan's defenders.
It was Sunday afternoon. So where is everyone Sunday afternoon? They're at the old club, they're in the swimming pool, they're having a few beers, you know, or writing letters and such as this. So we're going to hit the Japanese Sunday afternoon, about maybe 2:30. That's what the brass figured out would be a good time. So we went in, but they don't think like us. They weren't at the old club. They weren't at the beach. They weren't writing letters. They were about 20,000 feet above us, and they came down on our back. type of a fight. We were strafing aircraft on the ground and then trying to cover our backs with Zeros coming down. So we had both air-to-ground going on and air-to-air. I believe I got a couple on that particular mission. We lost a few, but we're now on the offensive, and we can see some daylight.
June 19, 1944. One of the most decisive air battles of the war will seal the fate of the Japanese in the South Pacific. It will come to be known as the Marianas Turkey Shoot.
We were in perfect position for them, 2,000 to 3,000 feet, opposite direction, fighter pilot's dream. These things are once in a lifetime. All the training that you have, but you don't generally have something quite like this.
Whoever had the altitude advantage dictated the terms of the battle, and very seldom was it a matter of endurance. These were short-lived, short-lived battles. They go on for 30 seconds, sometimes a minute or two.
Vrashi blasts 5 planes out of the sky.
I went after the 6th one and caught him just as he was starting to head on down.
I must have hit his bomb because he exploded violently, right through the pieces of that one.
I looked around. There were no more planes in the air, nothing but Hellcats.
The Mariana Turkey Shoot was it. That's when we took the heart out of them. We fought the last trained pilots in the Turkey Shoot in the Marianas. I think that was their last big show.
That day, American pilots will tally more than 400 kills. Saipan falls. A month later, U.S. Marines retake Guam.
When the Americans attacked, they attacked without interval. Well, I think this is due in part to, how do I call it, the American spirit of settlers in the frontier. I admire this very much.
An American armada, Task Force 58, gathers to deliver a killing blow. Aboard the carriers, more than 1,000 planes.
Our task force was so big that if you were up at 10 or 12,000 feet over the force, it stretched from horizon to horizon. We had 4 task groups, and each task group was a minimum of 4 carriers, usually 1 to 2 battleships, 2 to 4 cruisers, maybe 12 to 18 destroyers in each group. So you've got 4 groups sailing together, and it is a spectacle you'll never see again.
America's fighters and bombers are in range of the Japanese home islands. It is only a matter of time.
When I looked down the islands, the sea looked so beautiful. I asked myself, what is a human being? What am I? I thought about the answer. Human beings are like worms. Worms were fighting each other down on the earth. It seemed to be so ridiculous. At that time, the value of my life seemed very small. I started to feel that I did not mind dying.
American strike forces head for the Philippines, Iwo Jima, Okinawa. The fire that began at Pearl Harbor will soon rage through the skies over Japan.